Hi, everybody. So, welcome to another sustainability meetup under Blue Cities Network. So, I'm Saurav Gupta. I'm the founder and CEO of Earth 5R. And Earth 5R is an environmental organization that started from Mumbai. Now, we are working across India and we are working in 65 countries. And so, Earth 5R is the basic foundation of Earth 5R is we believe in triple bottom line approach towards project. What we do is like whenever we believe into urban sustainability and rural sustainability. So what we do is like whenever we create a project, we believe that the project should have environmental impact, but also should have economic and social impact. So as everyone calls it triple bottom line approach. So that's the whole idea. So one of the things that we have been really been concerned about is that how rivers and water bodies are treated in the cities, and the actual color of the water, which should be blue, is actually in a lot of Indian cities it's gray or black, which is the state of the rivers and lakes. And also, the rivers and the water bodies, the state of these water bodies is also an indicator of sustainable practices in the city, like how solid waste management policies are actually practiced, or how water management is done, or how even basic sustainability practices or overall urban practices are done. So basically that's also an indicator. So we felt that we wanted to have some common theme around which we could have sustainability programs, and particularly we could drive a lot of volunteers to take part into some sort of activities. We felt that river was a good cause, and that is rivers are basically foundation of civilization. So that is one reason why we came up with the name Blue Cities Network, which means that urban cities or cities that are based by the rivers. Let's talk about how we can make those cities sustainable. But having said that, we are talking about sustainability as a whole. It's just not about river. It's about all kind of sustainability issues. And we built this group, and now the idea is becoming bigger, and we have multiple units. Now we are starting in Europe as well as US and many countries. This is the India chapter, but soon we are also opening a global group where people from the India chapter will also get the opportunity to join. So basically, the active members will get the opportunity to join. The purpose behind this group is that we can help each other. First of all, most important is that to start with, learn from each other. So we invite professionals to practicing professionals to come and share their story, and there is a focus on sharing stories that have been practiced by them, like the projects that they have done, the impact they have created. So we encourage them to talk through real projects, give examples, and so that others can learn from that. And also, one of the issues that sustainability is one sector where people have been working in silos, and there's a lot of reinvention of wheel happening. So we felt that if people could come together and they could share their practices and share resources, that would be a great opportunity. So, in fact, very interestingly, we are already working with some of the people who are part of this group, in terms of developing new projects or sharing resources with them. So that's the whole idea. Today we have a few speakers, three speakers today we have. And I'll before we go to the speakers, I would like to invite people to have questions. If you have any questions about how Blue Cities Network functions, because in the WhatsApp group, we don't have chat option available because we wanted to keep it very, very work focused. So we rather talk in these calls rather than talking in the WhatsApp group because people are busy. People don't want to get all the time these WhatsApp messages alert. So that's why we confine it only for announcements, and we rather discuss over here. So, any questions from members? Anything that you would like to ask about BlueCities Network in terms of participation, in terms of benefits? Okay, so since there are no questions, I'll straightway go to the top to the speakers list. So we have some interesting lineup today. We'll start. We have three speakers. There is Dr. Prakash Ranjan, who is from IIT Jammu. Then there is Mr. Santosh Nagasamy, who is from Phyton from Bangalore. And then we have Mr. Priyanshu Kumath, who's from Clean Water from Indore. So these are the three speakers today. And after that, I mean, if there are other people also who would like to share some interesting facts or any project ideas, definitely everybody is welcome. It's an open forum. So after the speakers have done their talk, we can definitely have open discussion. Once a particular speaker, so the way we'll work like is that speakers have 4 slides and they explain everything in just 4 slides. Reason being is that we want more and more people to be able to talk and interact. So we wrap up everything in just 4 slides very quickly in 5 minutes. So we have 5 minutes to present. But after that, we have open, I ask few questions, and once we have done all three speakers, then people are open to ask their questions very openly and discuss. And after that, some of these speakers who are willing to talk at in depth and at length, then we do a separate podcast with each one of them, which is around 45 minutes to 60 minutes. This is very deep dive where they share in depth and they talk in depth. So just wanted you to know that just because this is a 5 minutes presentation does not mean that we're not going to know more about your work. Definitely want to deep dive into your work in separate call. So the first speaker today is Dr. Prakash Ranjan, as I just spoke. He's the assistant professor of environmental engineering division at IIT Jammu. So, Dr. Prakash, you there already?
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. I'll just do a quick introduction. So, Dr. Prakash is as I said, he's based in environmental engineering division in IIT Jammu, and he's specialized into solid waste management with a strong focus on circular economy, urban waste stream analysis, and very interesting, very timely topic, microplastic pollution, which is one of my favorite topic also. So, Dr. Prakash brings scientific but very deep practical lens to the sustainability. Is also very important because when you bring somebody from IIT, you want more science into it. His focus for the today's talk is that he is going to share his some groundbreaking research that he has done that shows how common paper cup, which often sees as eco-friendly, like when you go to Starbucks and any public like these cafes and you get these plastic cups. So how does it release thousands of plastic when exposed to hot liquids? So his talk will explore how these hidden pollutants affect human health and urban water system, and then obviously how it is linked with policy and awareness. So over to you, Dr. Prakash.
Yeah. So, will you share the slide or I have to share the
Yeah,
slide?
you can share your screen.
Okay. So thank
Just
you.
a moment.
Yeah. Is it visible? The slide is visible now to
Yeah, it's
everybody?
visible. It's visible.
Okay. So, thank you, Saurabh, for the kind invitation in such a big platform.
It's our
And
pleasure. Yeah.
yeah, it's a truly an honor and pleasure to be part of this impactful initiative by Earth Fiber. I truly appreciate Earth Fiber's unwavering commitment towards sustainability and community-driven uh, uh, environmental action. So before starting my presentation, so basically you have already talked about myself. Like I'm currently assistant professor in the Department of Civil Engineering. My current research, like focus area of research, is like circular economy, solid waste management, microplastic pollution. Even I started working on the end of life vehicle plastic, which basically currently nowadays we are ignoring such kind of a waste, which is being basically we are generating, because once the vehicle goes for end of their life, nobody know where the plastic from the end of the life vehicle is going, right? So that is also my hot topic of the research. And I experienced in the waste stream characterization, recycling strategy development for urban and institutional streams. And my philosophy towards sustainability, like okay, everything I leave it to the nature. Like true sustainability exists only when nature itself approve our action. That is my main philosophy towards that. So what I built or solved, so basically what I did during my research phase, actually, so basically I have investigated the unnoticed release of the microplastic from the inner plastic lining of the disposable paper cup. So basically, just you see the paper cup, everybody say about the paper cup, no, there's only the wax coating will be there. So that is not the case, basically. So what we have addressed the problem. So the basically we have broken the misconception that paper cups are eco-friendly. So basically we have identified the contribution to hidden microplastic pollution and also identified the potential human health risk. What is the real world relevance related with that? So we have basically conducted in the Indian urban consumption context using cups widely available across market. That is how I have basically started collecting the sample and have done lot of experiment related with that. And so how basically it sets it apart. Unlike traditional studies on bottle and packaging, this research uniquely targets short use, because just go everywhere, like just go any of the whether it's a Nescafe, whether it's any kind of a coffee shop, just you go, they will provide you the hot beverages in the paper cup only. So basically just that is why we have taken such kind of a sample. So that is the here the diagram, just you can see how we have basically done the experiment, done the kind of analysis, like just you can see the SEM images, kind of a release of microplastic you can see from the plastic film, basically. So kind of heavy metals, just you can see how heavy metals, what kind of heavy metals is being released. Ions also had seen the which was being released. So what was my research outcome? So basically when I had collected a sample, basically total 5 different type of kind of a disposable paper cup I had collected, which are of basically different manufacturer. And what I have seen, like 4 out of 5 paper cups were lined with SDP grade of plastic. So initially even I was thinking, so that might be the kind of a bioplastic, but when I started kind of analysis and seen the normal grade of plastic was present. And in the experiment we have seen, if you are consuming like the 100 ml of the beverages in that paper cup, so basically 25,000 microplastic particles we have found, which is was releasing in the hot water, hot beverages. So size of the microplastic, what I have detected there, like the minimum size of microplastic, what I have detected, like 150 nanometer to the like the maximum size 4.75 micrometer. Even already what I told you, like the kind of heavy metals in all the 5 type of the disposable paper cups, we have seen lead and nickel were present in the all the kind of the in the paper cup sample. So basically all the heavy metals were exceeding their permissible limit. That is why I
Hmm.
have mentioned here the lead and nickel. And fluoride, in the terms of ion, what I have seen, the fluoride, only the fluoride was exceeding their permissible limit in one of the sample. So what policy basically, so because the paper got published in the during COVID time, I guess 2020. So by that time I had kind of a like kind of a support I was basically seeking from the government or the NGO, so that I could have gone more deep in the such kind of a research. But just because of COVID I could not get like the huge support in terms of that. So basically what I can say, like the such kind of a policy should be there, because what we are labeling such kind of item as a eco-friendly, that is not the case. So here
Hmm.
is my publication. So that paper has been published in very good journal, so that is Journal of Hazardous Material. And also it got recognized by the Ministry of Education, various newspaper, various social media and kind of a thing, various even the international media also, it got very viral. And recently one of my colleague from Andhra Pradesh, she just shared the kind of a screenshot, just you can see that was basically displayed at Sri Sivaji Spurti Kendra in Telangana. So basically that kind of highlights, they have basically sticked at some kind of a wall, and so that people get aware about the kind of if you drink hot beverages from the paper cup, so these are the case basically you are going to experience. So what basically why it matters to the Blue Cities network? So basically this work is easily scalable to other cities, because everywhere you go you will get hot beverages from the paper, because it is easy to use, easy to, because you do not need to wash frequently, right? So just use and throw it. So even just you see the if you are aware about the flood in the Ahmedabad, you might be knowing the main reason behind the flood in the Ahmedabad, because all the drains were clogged just because of the such kind of a paper cup.
Hmm.
So it's not only you are consuming hot beverage from the paper cup, but also simultaneously it is also creating problem to the all the drains kind of a thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, so the insights can support policy decision and consumer awareness campaign in blue city region by showing how eco alternative may still contribute to the pollution. So basically we have to change our mindset, because without identifying the kind of thing, you can't claim that the things are because I one real thing I can share, when I was in IT Kharagpur. So one of the plastic film, I got it from West Bengal Pollution Control Board to check whether the plastic film what they are claiming is the eco, like the bioplastic. When we have identified in the lab, so, and we have seen that plastic is not the bioplastics basically. So that is that the case is basically going on, right? So I am open to collaboration in the form of joint monitoring studies, because such kind of a studies again we have to do more and more, because you don't know where the microplastic is going to and how the microplastic is getting formed. Because if you might have seen recently one more study I have started, yeah, because just you see the kind of a cement bag we are using, right? So wherever the construction work is going on, what we are doing with the cement bag, which after after using the cement. So just you go any of the construction site, you can see the cement bag, they just throw it anywhere they want. After 1 or 2 months, you can see the cement bag starts fragmenting into the microplastic, and they basically deteriorate the soil quality and the water quality. And so even I have the photo kind of thing, so I will share in the group, I will share personally in the group, even if you allow me. So I will show you the how the cement bag also going to be the biggest challenge, biggest kind in the microplastic formation. And from the Blue City Network, what I seek like partner in the water quality and solid waste initiative. So if you might have gone through the recent proposal by National Himalayan Mission Studies. So basically, so we are targeting the, just you see the all the hilly region where the big temples, or for the religious purpose they go, like the here, because we I am located at Jammu, so we have seen the case at the Vaishno Devi case. So just you go, along the way of that Vaishno Devi, you can see the lot of solid waste which is being generated. So people don't know, because just you see everywhere the plastic is being disposed and nobody cares, and then that plastic starts fragmenting, and then it uh, affecting the soil quality as well. Even in the I can show you, in the literature, even I had seen in US, in the tap water, 90% of the in the tap water there is a chance that you will get the microplastic in the tap water. So even in the Indian case, it is very much, it is very much possible that we will in some point of time also we will start getting the microplastic presence in the water. So yeah, so yeah, that how that is what I basically want support from the Blue Cities Network in implementing the kind of a study, implementing the kind of the policy, in also to make the people aware regarding the how the microplastic is being formed. Yeah, so that is whole my idea basically. Yeah, yeah,
Thank you, Professor Ved Prakash. Very, very interesting work.
yeah,
One of those works from academic that touches lives of every single person in
yes,
the country, because we all use or come across paper cups. I have one question from one
yes,
of your slides,
yes,
which
yes.
so
Oh,
there was one thing that you had mentioned, that 4 out of 5 paper cups were lined with HDPE grade of plastic.
yes, yes, yes.
So what is, because I thought it was supposed to be LDPE, right? So
So
what?
there is no big difference between the LDP and SDP. It's just about the kind of basically I got the correlation score based on the software what I have. So
Hmm.
if you are getting the high correlation score, that means that plastic, that means your sample is more aligned towards that kind of a plastic.
Okay. So when we say HDP, what is the like, why are we highlighting the HDP here? Like, what does it mean? High density plastic here. What is the reference here? What's the point?
It's here my highlighting here basically the point of highlighting, just to make the aware, it's not about the HDP or LDP. My
Hmm.
point to highlight is the it's a real grade of the plastic. It's not the bioplastic. It's
Okay.
basically
Okay.
E
Okay.
grade of the plastic is
Sure.
present. It's
Sure.
not
Sure.
about
Got it.
because
Got it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Correct. And then another question is that uh, how does the lead and nickel leached into that? Is
Yeah,
it
that's
because of the temperature?
yeah, that's the temperature because once you start taking you might have seen when the person pour the hot water in the like the hot beverages in the paper cup, it's not like they gradually increasing the temperature. It's all
Hmm.
of sudden. So basically,
Sure.
how I feel suppose I touch something hot to your body, how instantaneously we behave, right?
Sure.
So
Sure. Sure.
same kind of a thing. Basically, the plastic also experience. So
So it
right.
releases lead and nickel.
Yes, exactly.
So
It's really because
microplastic is not the only problem.
yeah, microplastic is not only the problem.
Yeah.
Microplastic one of the things, and still yeah. So we are getting along with the
Yeah.
microplastic, such kind of a thing.
Okay. And now when it comes to next thing is that do you also provide I see that you've spoken about doing community trainings and things like that. So how would you, what is the kind of model? Because you must be a very busy person. So how would you do the trainings?
Yeah, during vacation time, so basically we can find that see now the we are in a vacation period like the summer
Hmm.
vacation. So
Yeah.
June to July, like May, like mid May to July first week, we are in a basically here the vacation period. So all of the training program basically we organize in this time only
Okay. Okay. Okay.
during the vacation period.
Sumitra has question that is making industrial grade oil of LDP sustainable.
Sorry.
Sumitra has a question that
Okay.
is making industrial grade oil out of LDP sustainable.
Industry grade, so I don't know will it be sustainable because again plastic should not deteriorate whether it's a industry grade or it's not industrial grade. So
Hmm.
because so that kind of a temperature it should bear, right? Because
Hmm.
the kind of experiment what I did at around 85 to 90, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's not like whether it's industrial grade. Suppose you are taking the industrial grade and suppose you pour hot beverages at that temperature 85 to 90. Suppose still it started releasing. If suppose it starts releasing, then again it is going to harm your body. It's not like industrial grade or
Hmm.
like the bio.
No, no, no. The question is that uh, like making oil out of LDPE.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, so
Hmm.
it can be made. It can be made while, but again, whether it's economically sustainable or not, that
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
case actually. So we
Yeah,
have
and
to look at.
pyrolysis. Yeah, pyrolysis
Yes,
is
yes, yes.
generally
Because
done.
yes, yes, pyrolysis and gasification is just if you see the
Hmm.
economic things, so that is not preferable. Suppose
Yeah.
because everyone want to go towards kind of a recycling, multiple recycling, mechanical recycling. If you are not able to do such kind of a thing, then only you can go for the pyrolysis, incineration,
Very.
gasification.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
And
because
and
my whole work, just if you see my Google Scholar profile, so my whole work basically I did in the plastic waste things basically. So
yeah,
what kind of plastic basically suitable for recycling or not?
yeah.
So
Okay. There is one more question from Priyanshu. Kumath is how to remove microplastic from lakes and ponds.
yeah, that is a good question actually. We can't directly
Yeah,
remove. Basically, we have to basically source reduction. Basically, we have to prevent it from the source level. It's not like once it
I
is in
think
the
I think if we can find the technology, that is where the next billion-dollar company can be created.
Yes, yes, exactly. Even you might have seen one of the professor from IC Bangalore. They have developed one hydrogel
Hmm.
to to remove the microplastic. But again, it is not economically sustainable. So
Yeah,
again,
exactly. You got
yes,
entire lake, or
yes, yes,
you
yes,
can
yes.
still do a lake, but how would you do a river that is
Yeah,
flowing?
river. Yes, again, again. So even this next semester, I'm going to start one work like how microplastic is going to flow throughout the Himalayan region. So like
Hmm.
from one point to that point. So because just you see the location where you think that the microplastic will not be there, but I have seen in the the recent
Hmm.
newspaper, just you can see the in that area microplastic started coming to that
Yeah,
area
yeah.
as well. So it's a very, so even here I have seen in the IIT Jammu campus as well, after I think 15 to 20-meter depth level even. So one person like the was digging here because already construction
Hmm.
work is going on here. So through JCB, one person was digging, and I had seen the like the fragment of the plastics were present
Yeah,
at
that
there.
is true. 20 meters
Yeah.
is a lot.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
yeah,
So it's a very high chances that microplastic will surely be present in the groundwater level. So you don't know how it is.
oh,
Yes,
okay.
it's a very high chances because here water level hardly you will get it in 10 or
Hmm.
10, 15
Right,
meters. So
right.
yeah, it's a very, very high
Thank you
chances.
so much, Dr. Ved Prakash. This was very, very enlightening. It's basically a food for thought. So we would
Yeah.
definitely want to deep dive into another session with you,
Yes, sure.
one-on-one session where would like to have very elaborate discussion and get into your research project, understand the
Sure.
data and various possibilities. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. So thank you.
Our next speaker is Mr. Santosh Nagasamy. He's the CEO of Phitons Bioengineering from Bangalore. And Mr. Nagasamy, he is basically material. So his company is a material science company that has pioneered real-world compostable alternative to single-use plastic. His work bridges scientific innovation with the commercial scalability. That is the important part that you know bringing something innovative in terms of in terms of environmental friendly and still making commercially scalable. That is really something very interesting. The focus of his talk is where he'll introduce Phyton's compostable packaging and agriculture products. They have mulch films that replace plastic without leaving microplastic residue. So somewhere there is a solution for the problem we just discussed. Uh, his talk focuses on how cities and farmers can finally shift from plastic bans to practical alternatives that work at scale. So over to Mr. Santosh Nagaswamy.
Thanks, Saurabh. I think a great initiative. I think this is something that is missing in the sustainable world. It's a very
Yeah,
fragmented space.
yeah.
So
And
bring,
Santosh, we met in Bangalore. Do you remember? We met in United Nations meetings
I do.
workshop. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So great job. I think seeing you there and then seeing this happening in real time is quite heartening for me. So this is coming into place.
Thank you.
Again, Dr. Ved, Prakash, great work so far. I think listening to you was good because there's so many people now working together to solve this problem. So I'm very happy that you're working on this area, and I would love to spend some time with you, discuss what we are doing, and maybe what we have is the answer to many of your concerns, right? And we don't have to do it in silo. I think academia and industrial collaboration is critical for policy change, right? So love to spend some time with Dr. Ved and take that. And sort of, you're giving away all my secrets before I go into the presentation.
No, I mean, when I met you in Bangalore, also in the United Nations workshop, I was like, first thing I went to you and I said that I couldn't first of all believe that this really works. And then I was like, oh, you guys have actually built a company around that and you're actually making money
For
out of it. I was like, wow, this is something, it's a big takeaway. So very
sure.
impressive work, very, very impressive
I'm
work.
going to share my screen and quickly take you through.
Yes.
Saurabh, you gave me of such a difficult task of making this in 5 minutes.
We'll have a very long discussion later on.
So I'll try
Yeah.
my best. All right, I'll see what I can do. So, hello
Hello everyone.
everybody. My name is Santosh Nagasamy. Hello.
Yeah, yeah, please carry
Hello
on.
everyone. My
Yeah.
name is Santosh. I'm the CEO of Phitons, and
Hello.
we are doing some very interesting work in bringing about true products which can actually solve some of the problems that we're facing today in the world of plastics and microplastics. And again, I want to stress here that plastics is not the enemy. Plastic is probably one of the most important inventions in human history. And without plastics, medical innovation wouldn't have reached where it is today. Food packaging wouldn't have reached where it is today in terms of getting food to where it is needed. So, with all that being, madam, I think you need to go on mute. We can hear you.
Yeah. Thank you.
No worries. So with all that being said, I think what's important is to understand that plastics have been abused and used in areas which it's not supposed to be used, which is what has caused this problem. Okay, I always like starting my talk with this image, right? So this is a very important, visceral and evocative slide where I'm talking about how microplastics have infiltrated not just the earth, but in our system as well. All right, I'm going to ask you a question, and sort of since you're the only one on screen, you can probably take a guess. How much we human being consume plastics, okay? And I'll tell you how much as well. We consume one credit card size worth plastic, which is about 5 grams. The question to you is in what time frame?
I saw some documentary about it. I
Oh,
think it
no,
was, it spoke, I think in 1 month, isn't it?
it's a week.
In a week. Oh
In a
my
week.
goodness. So eating one credit
Credit
card
card size.
size plastic every week.
Now, the Phitons as a company was created by another company called PhD. PhD stands for Potential Health Development. They work with elite athletes. And while working with the Hyderabad cricket team and doing their blood work and urine samples, testing that, they found phthalates in their urine. Phthalates are endocrine disrupting chemicals which are found only in plastic. Right? It cannot come into our human system without some kind of cross contamination. And while getting into a deeper root cause analysis, they found that the styrofoam cups that they were using is causing the phthalate leakage into their system. And that was 6.5, 7 years ago when no one in the world was talking about microplastics. Only in some academias they were just discussing it as a potential area. And this is something which led to the intense research on products that can be in contact with food and still be work and behave like plastics, right? And that led us to creating Phitons, right? So I'll spend very briefly. I'll introduce you to Phitons. So we are a material science company, and we focus on creating polymers that are ecologically sound, environmentally friendly, and also it helps us create a healthy planet for healthy humans. Because without focusing on a planet, humans, where are we going to get our health from, right? So that's a critical angle. We follow a very critical mission of do no harm and enrich when possible. So multiple um, awards we have won for innovative products from CII, from various institutions. Briefly touch upon the 4 areas of our focus. Earthen craft is my daily use compostable. Anything that you can think of, carry bags, pouches, bin liners, all that, we can do it. A lot of companies who do it, we do it better, we do it more sustainably, but a lot of companies do it, right? So that's something which it's something we excel in. One of our long-lasting customers is Country Delight, who was our first customer, and still even today that customer. It's been a couple of years now. And Earthen Durapack is again industry's first. We have a packaging material which can replace LDPE used in industrial packaging. Toyota we pioneered with Toyota, and it was a fantastic innovation. I'm now working with Toyota in India, TCAP, Toyota Kirloskar Auto Parts, to convert their entire packaging to compostable packaging. Not only focus on compostable packaging, but also give them a end life cycle. So I'm the deal I've struck with Toyota is I'm collecting back the packaging material. I reprocess and pelletize it, blow films again, send it back to them. So complete circular ecosystem which I'm building in the industrial scale, and it's working out. I have mandate with them to work with them now. We're working with ABB, Bosch, and a few other industries as well. The third area is probably the magnum opus, then agri. I'll come to this in the next slide. And the fourth one is again very, very important. India spent 92,000 crores in post-harvest food losses, right? And if I can find a way to protect even a percentage of that, it's fantastic. We infused antimicrobial essential oils inside our polymers, creating an active film. So if I keep fruits, vegetables, and greens, it enhances the food shelf life of these produce by up to 3 times without the need for cold storage. So I don't have to tell what kind of implication we have by this product. So we are finalizing. It works. The grade works. We're finalizing the product and relaunching it later at much lower price point, so that every farmer should be able to access this product to save their produce. Multiple clients in about 14 months of 15 months of commercialization, we already got about 32 clients on board, and we're growing very rapidly because we are focusing on application specific problems while retaining the ethos of doing no harm and enriching when possible. Okay. So in 5 minutes, what can I cover? So I thought, let me talk about the thing which is most important to me, which is the compostable mulch sheet. For some reason, the photo is not loading, and in image speaks louder than words. So let me see if I can get this to
Maybe
work.
it got decomposed, like, because compostable. So
Can you see my screen now?
yeah, screen is visible, just accept the image, but screen is visible. Please go ahead.
Right now?
Yeah, now we can see. Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So on the left is a LDP mulch sheet, okay, which
Hmm.
is plastic. And right side by side, you have our compostable mulch sheet. So the way we've designed it is microbes will eat our product because to them, there's no difference between that and an orange peel. Of course, it's
Hmm.
going to take longer because we have polymerized it. But it is still eat. So we focus on short-term crops right now because that's the first product. So anything between a 3 to 5 month kind of a duration. By the time you can see the tomatoes are coming to harvest, by that time it comes to harvest, the mulch is already starting to disappear. This was one of our earlier kind of products, versions of the product. So the problem with this was it was composting too fast, right? So we had to now delay it a little bit. So now our product lasts between 3 to 5 months, exactly what it takes to harvest it. Now I'm going to also provide a machine which can now take what is left of our mulch sheet and convert it into something called biochar. Biochar, if you are aware of it, it's one of the most important ingredients for agriculture, where it provides housing for microorganisms. And the fertility of the soil comes from microorganisms. It doesn't come from fertilizers, right? It doesn't come from NPK. It comes from the microbes which are there. So the biochar is one of the most important ingredient for reviving our agricultural ecosystem and saving our soil. So what I'm showing you is not a lab scale. We last agricultural season we piloted with 6 of the top 10 seed producers globally, and in India we launched 250 acres with our mulch sheet, replacing the plastic mulch sheet, and every one of those 6 customers came back with a success, right? And I can tell you very proudly that the entire world is trying to make a compostable mulch sheet. Okay, mulch film, for those who don't know, is a plastic film that you put on the agricultural bed, where it avoids moisture from evaporating and it protects it from weeds. Okay, great invention 10 years ago. Why is this a problem? It's a problem because upon UV interaction, plastic fragments into micro and nanoparticles, and they are present. They infiltrate the soil, and from the soil it kills the soil biome. First of all, it kills the microbes in the soil because it creates an environment which is hostile for microorganisms. And the second, it enters the plants to the root zone and comes into our system, right? So into us, we eat it literally. So mulch, everyone is trying to get a compostable mulch sheet, and we as an Indian company, we are the first in the world to launch a working compostable mulch sheet. I think it's a very proud moment for all of us, and me especially. It is something that I'm working to take it very, very far. And Dr. Wade mentioned that microplastics may come into the Indian tap water. I'm sorry, doctor, it's already there. Microplastics have infiltrated a system in such a deep way that you can find microplastics in the North Pole and even in Marina Trench. There's no human activity there. It's there because the earth is a connected system. So you pollute one part, it's going to end up everywhere else. And in the just a short span of 70 years, microplastics have completely taken over, and we have to put a stop to it. And that's what we do. We're trying to bring real world solutions to help the ban to be more effective. So let me go back to my full screen. I've got one more slide and we can take questions after that. Right. So the ban wasn't enough. right? So you can still see plastic films used in the local mom and pop shops, in kirana stores. You can still see plastics, even in Bangalore. You can see it. And Dr. Ved was absolutely right. You test 5 out of, or maybe 8 of the 10 compostable, so-called compostable film producers, and it will fail. There's a test called dichloromethyl test, where it's a solution. If you put a conventional plastic inside, it will not dissolve. We put a compostable plastic, or what we call bioplastic, it will dissolve. Right? It's a very, very simple test. Everyone who works in this industry should have that particular test. And I have personally tested about 15 or 20 of my competitors, and 80% of them have failed. Right? And for whatever reason they're doing, it irks me when somebody comes into the sustainability field. We can make money anywhere, right? Not in this space. You can't come and do something here just for making money. Another top point that we spoke about is lead leaching into the system. Microplastics is just a vehicle for all the chemicals to be transported to the system. Microplastic is not really a problem. We don't even know what microplastics is doing to our system. But we know that the chemicals which go in, endocrine disruptors, lead, arsenic, cyanide-based compounds, why are they using this in plastic? They use these very harsh chemicals and heavy metals to improve the efficiency of the production. So they want to make more volume, which is why they use it. And they've been using it for so long that it's become part of the system, and they accept it as okay. The second issue, you asked, why does it leach? It leaches because when you compound polymers, while the polymers are tightly held, the master batches, which contain the slip agents and things which make it go faster, are very loosely held. So increase the temperature just a little bit, it comes out. Right? So even if you forget about plastic cups, you go into your car after it's sitting on a hot day, you can smell something in the car. Those are volatile compounds which is coming out of the durable plastics in your car. So as soon as you sit in a car, after it's parked for some time, you need to lower the window and let it air out, because those are very harmful chemicals which are there in the car. Right? And plastic industry is like this. Okay, one more question before I can stop it. I told we consume one credit card size every week. And what is the number one polluter which leads to that microplastic? Any guess, or
Number one polluter that leaches from the
that leads to that credit card that goes into our system, right? What is the number one contributor to microplastics?
number one contributor to the microplastic. Uh,
Just a wild guess.
Mostly, I think that a lot of food packaging that we get, like
Milk
these.
packets.
You'll be very surprised to know that it's actually tires.
Oh,
Tires, by the nature of the tires, because it's using its friction, leads to microplastics coming out, and we breathe it, right? And
Yes,
there's no
correct.
solution for that today. The number two polluters are clothes. Clothes that we
Yeah.
have it's a polycotton coat. It usually have plastic in it. Every time you wash it, leaches plastics into the water, and it enters the system. And number three is all the other things that you mentioned, packaging. Right. So what we have in our hand right now is to focus on packaging and agricultural solutions. And eventually we'll focus on all the other things, the textiles, I hope tires as well. But everything needs policy intervention. Bans
Yeah,
are there.
I
Let's
read.
enforce the bans. Let's all of us together lobby the government, enforce the bans, rigorous testing to ensure that there's no greenwashing. And let's together, we have to, I always tell my team, saving the world is not a one-man job. It takes an army, right? And I think what we have right now in here is the army. Okay, let's use that.
Yeah.
So thanks
Yeah.
for the opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Santosh. There are a couple of questions. Professor Ved Prakash has a question that, is this bioplastic compostable under industrial condition or normal, like
Very good question, Dr. Ved. So, as you would know, there are two primary kinds of bioplastics which we use in the world. One is PBAT, one is PLA. Okay, again, I like asking questions to make people think. Right now, PBAT is a fossil-based bioplastic. or a compostable plastic. PLA is a plant-based bioplastic or compostable plastic.
Okay.
What do you think is better, Saurabh?
It looks like plant-based would be better because plants.
Since I'm asking you, you know that it's a trick question, right?
No. Because logically speaking, right?
It's a trick question. It's a trick question.
Yeah.
PBAT is soil compostable. I take PBAT and put it in soil. I
Hmm.
take PLA and put it in soil. PLA will stay as is because
Okay.
PLA is such a good polymer, chemically synthesized to be crystalline in nature, that it only takes an industrial composting facility to break it down. It needs temperature, high microbial activity, but the microbial activity in soil is sufficient to break down PBAT. Number one. Number two, second question. Now that you know that, since we know that now, this is compost. Now, which is better, PLA or PBAT? Now that you know that PLA is not compostable naturally and PBAT is compostable, which is better, you think, Saurabh?
It's a tricky situation actually because it's like both have devils.
Yeah, it is. It is again application specific.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
if
Where
I
you
want
use
to
it.
make a water bottle
Yeah.
out of PBAT and it's composting when I'm drinking it,
Hmm.
not a good thing, right? We need
Correct.
to control the composting. Now, water bottle, again, if it is not composting, we need a value chain to
Hmm.
compost it. Again, the problem. It's a very this problem to this question, right? It's a very complex one. But to answer your question very shortly, Dr. Ved, we are naturally compostable, although there's no test in India to prove that. We have a biocompostability test in India doesn't exist, although it is there on paper. It takes 2 years to grant that test, and by 2 years the industry's changed. So there's no way we are going to get that test. However, I am getting some a test done by TUV to prove the compostability and OK Compost to do that. So that's something that I'm putting in place. While we are using PBAT today because it's the most commercially viable, although it's fossil based, it is still soil compostable. We have proven it multiple times. Toyota tested ours in the soil for about 6 months before approving a product. Visibly saw it composting and then gave it to us. And we are also on the lookout for better polymers. We are researching PHA. PHA is one of the best polymers, but it is 5 times the cost. No one's going to pay me that. So
For the benefit of audience, what is PHA?
Polyhydroxyalkyl. It's a bacterial fermented. It takes sugar, put bacteria, it ferments it, and it creates a polymer. Fantastic polymer. It is compostable in every medium, whether it is landfill, whether it is water, whether it is earth, everywhere. PBAT is only compostable in soil, industrial composting, and potentially in landfill as well. So apart from this, it will, if you put in marine, it won't compost. Right, so that's the drawback of PBAT.
One question is that if I'm not breaking your trade secret, if you like it, answer it. Where do you get the material from? Like, how do you make it? Like, what is
So
the source?
PBAT, everyone knows where to get, right?
Okay.
I'll share one more thing that we do, which no one else does, and why we have succeeded in the agri space. So the every plastic, with lack of a better word, every plastic that we get is made up of two components: a polymer component and a filler component. The polymer in conventional plastics is PET, LDP, HDPE, and all of those things. In bioplastics, the polymer, as I mentioned, is PLA and PBAT, which is most used today. There are others as well, but these are the most used today. And you have the filler component. Everybody uses calcium carbonate, right? It's a very easily available filler. It is accepted all over the world. Everyone knows it, so I don't mind sharing it with you. So even we have a grade with calcium carbonate. It's one of our earlier grades. We still supply it to some of our clients. Now, the question we asked ourselves, if I'm using calcium carbonate today and I want to do thousands of tons every quarter, and like me, there are thousands of companies doing the same thing. How much of calcium carbonate are we ending up putting in the system, right? And every compostable ends up in the soil. So we are going to increase the levels of calcium carbonate so much that in 20 years we'll have a problem that somebody else will be sitting and discussing how to solve this problem. So we invented, going against the grain, we invented a soil-based multi-mineral filler. So soil itself we've taken and found a way to compound it into our polymers. So
Oh,
I have a
okay.
sample with me right now. So
Hmm.
that has 30 to 40% soil in it. And that is an
Oh,
innovation never been done before, right?
very
So
interesting.
PBAT gets eaten by microbes to become biomass, and soil goes back to soil. So it's not only safe as a mulch sheet, but it also enriches it because we
Correct.
add to the soil rather than taking it away.
Very
So
good.
I think
Very.
deep science, a lot of work has gone into it. It is something that we do it ourselves. We make our own pellets, we make our own compounding. We are compounders as well as film blowers.
Uh, so, Professor Narsama has a question. She's from IIT Tirupati, right? She has a question that are there any methods or ways to collect and segregate these microplastics?
So there is a technology. I heard this question earlier as well when Dr. Ved
Hmm.
was talking. So there is something they're working on how to agglomerate microplastics to become a big enough particle that we can separate. Work is
Hmm.
going on right now. Another work which where they're working on bacteria which eat plastic and they're letting that loose. Now I don't know what's going to happen when you leave that bacteria loose and it finishes eating the plastic and then what, right? So these are all deep science, deep tech, very dangerous areas sometimes, but very important for us to explore. The agglomeration of microplastic using some kind of electrical charge is what very early research is going on. But people are finding ways because we have plastics in human beings right now. We have to get rid of it.
It has
Plastic is
crossed the blood-brain barrier.
absolutely,
Yeah.
exactly. It crossed the blood-brain barrier. How do we get rid of that? What is it doing in our system? Right? No
Hmm.
one knows. Human beings haven't evolved to deal with plastic. It's just 70 years since plastic has come into our ecosystem. We
Hmm.
haven't evolved to deal with plastic. We haven't evolved to deal with something that never goes away. Sort of just a point for you to visualize this. Every plastic product you have used in your life is still there in the earth somewhere.
It's incredible.
Insane, right?
Yeah.
The nipple that I had as a baby, that suckling thing, that is
Yeah.
probably still there somewhere. I don't know where it
It
is.
is not broken yet.
Incredible, right? And
Yeah.
this is, I wonder how humans let this happen. It is
Hmm.
something, but there is hope. I recently gave a TED talk and I was researching on that and I was talking about how I was thinking of where have we done this before? Where have all the countries come together to try to solve the problem? And I came across the lead petroleum, leaded fuel. If you remember when we were kids, it was just getting phased out. Leaded fuel was one of the most toxic thing that came into the world. There is research to say that because of lead being pumped into the atmosphere, the entire world IQ dropped by 20 points. Can you believe that? Incredible. One of the most toxic things that happened to humanity. All the world came together to get rid of it. Entire world, it took 20 years to get rid of lead in petroleum, by the way. 20 years after the United Nations came and banned and told them to ban it. I'm sure there's hope for plastics as well. I think we are a much more integrated society today. There are, social media and avenues like yours, which is giving us voice to talk about these things, right? And
But we also need solutions like what you're doing is actually creating a solution. So I think it should be by law that uh, we have to ban and start using such kind of material
so
that
one of the
is natural.
biggest challenges is how do I get the local mom and pop shops to use it when even paying
Hmm.
one paisa more is going to be expensive for them, right?
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
working with the municipality of Bhimavaram in Andhra Pradesh to see how we can make the entire municipality plastic free, right?
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
working with them at the grassroots level, taking very, very low margin for Phitons and
Hmm.
ensuring that we give products doesn't pinch them commercially and bridge the gap between manufacturers and end consumers so that there is enough to sustain this. And
Yeah.
it's working. We're probably going to put in 5 tons into Bhimavaram soon, and then hopefully we can scale it up to hit completely transform that municipality and use that as a benchmark for all the other places.
Yeah. Thank you, Santosh. Very, very, very enlightening talk. And what is plastic problem is known to everyone, but what is not known to people is the solution. And that too, if the solution is so good. And what I wanted really everyone to look into Phyton's website and go through and know more about them because I have personally known that these people are really doing something something breakthrough. And I believe that more people should know about your technology, and we should see what you're doing into. And definitely, I'll connect with you separately on an agriculture project. We are doing something very large scale project very soon, upcoming program. So there is a need over there also. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rob.
And yeah, I'll go to the next speaker now. We're going to listen to Priyanshu Kumath. So Priyanshu Kumath is the CEO and founder of Clean Water. And it's Indore-based startup which is dedicated to reviving polluted water bodies. And the way they do is by using low-cost nature-based solution. Priyanshu has a background in civil engineering from IIT Bombay, and he has experience across several types of roles in growth and strategy. So he has a lot of technical expertise and real world project experience, which we want to learn from. The focus of his talk is going to be about bioremediation and ecosystem based methods for restoring the lakes, ponds, which is also what Blue Cities Network is all about. So over to Priyanshu Kumath.
Right. Hi, Saurabh. Good evening, and good evening to everyone here. Great to be connecting with you all and the chance to speak and present our work here. What I'll do is I'll put up my screen, and given the interest of time, I'll make it short. Uh, just a second. Yes. So basically, in one line, what we do is we rejuvenate water bodies, particularly catering to the problem of water pollution and water quality. We operate under the brand name of Clean Water, although we're registered as Sustainable Water Technologies Private Limited. I am a BTech in civil engineering from IIT Bombay. I've worked across multiple startups, Mumbai, etc., before moving back to my hometown Indore and starting Clean Water. We actually started with building sewage treatment plants first. We built over 30 treatment plants, giving services for the same. Realized not even five of our clients are running the treatment plants. They never wanted the treatment plant. They actually just wanted a NOC from the Pollution Control Board. And over time, we realized that services are maybe not that scalable, or products are far more scalable, and that nobody was into rejuvenating water bodies, right? When the STPs don't function, the polluted water finds its way to the water bodies, and that was making it polluted. So we want to improve the water quality, get rid of all kinds of pollutants, right? Heavy metals, nutrients, organic stuff, etc. But we have to do that through nature-based products, which are biological in nature. We can't be dosing chemical solutions anymore. And that's what we do. So this is a quick snapshot of our work. So how we improve the water quality is basically through three products: floating wetlands, floating aerators, and beneficial microbial cultures. All of them are nature-based solutions. And they kind of have their own unique responsibility of removing pollutants. And we have to date worked on more than 25 water bodies across the nation, including lakes and ponds and rivers and drains alike. This is, for example, the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Dr. Mohan Yadav, standing on top of one of our wetlands, planting some plants. We rejuvenated Hausa-e-Shamsi Lake in Delhi, which had the problem of duckweed, azolla, and invasive species covering them. This was about a year back. About 2 years back, we rejuvenated Piplihana Lake in Indore, which had a well-functioning sewage treatment plant, and only the treated water would enter the lake. But despite that, you see these invasive species. The technical thing here is STPs do not remove all kinds of pollutants. It only removes some pollutants like BOD and COD. But when there are nutrients or food in the water, the invasive species eat up this food, start multiplying and covering the entire surface. But using our products, wetlands, cultures, aerators, we were able to keep every parameter within norms, and the invasive species didn't come back either. Also, one of our very iconic project is the Annapurna Lake in Indore. Let me tell you guys, this was a dead lake. About a year and a half back, all of the 50 to 70,000 odd fishes in this pond were dead. There was water hyacinth all over it. It received sewage from two inlets. It receives religious waste, the ritual offerings, etc. And as a result of all of the fishes were dead, the dissolved oxygen was at zero. Now the water quality is at drinking water standards. It's not just within norms. It is within bathing standards and it is within drinking water standards as well, not just one or two or six, 10 parameters. All of the 40 parameters, as per the IS 10500, are within norms. We had actually installed a very cool product there as well, which is called the floating lotus-shaped solar aerator, which is about 35 feet in diameter, weighs 1,500 kilograms and is floating, and is an alternative to the grid-powered aerators, right? You can have aerators in the water. You must have seen those oxygen bubbles in fish tanks and aquariums, right? Imagine bigger ones for lakes. That's what aerators are, to put in oxygen in the water. But at lakes, there are no security guards in the night, right? So people would come and steal our cables, our motors, etc. So we actually powered the aerator through floating solar panels, integrated with lights, petals, which kind of doubles up as a beautification tool as well. And we worked across the country, Sabarmati Riverfront, Ahmedabad, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Himachal, Haryana, UP, etc. And using these products, we've rejuvenated multiple water bodies, including rejuvenating this Nalanda Sarovar, for which we had got the award of Water Hero from Jal Shakti and later the award of Jal Prahari as well. So in a nutshell, this is what we do. These are the limits or the actual data from few of our sites: Pipliana Lake, Hawza Shamsi in Delhi, and Annapurna in Indore. And you can see all of them are within norms. So basically, what we do is once you clean the water, most of the problems get solved, right? Uh, if the water is clean, you can first and foremost reuse it, right? If it's polluted, you can't maybe pump it in a tank or reuse or it, etc. Right? If it's clean, you can reuse it. So the problem of pollution, by solving pollution, we can solve scarcity as well. By solving quality, we can solve quantity. Then all of our products are floating, right? They require no additional space around the water body because we've encroached them on all sides. There's actually no space available to set up a treatment plant. Even if we had set up a treatment plant, we will still need our products. Further, when you clean the water, the ecology, fishes, aquatic life can survive and thrive. There's no mosquito breeding, which means there are no waterborne diseases and deaths. The sludge accumulated at the bottom of water bodies no longer gives out methane emissions. It's completely digested. Um, there are no, the groundwater does not contaminate it, right? The polluted water could percolate and eventually contaminate the groundwater. So that's also prevented. And all of this is climate resilient infrastructure, right? Since it's floating, even if there are floods or droughts, it could float up and down with it. So what we're trying to do is transform these water bodies back from a liability everyone, the government, the fishermen, the lakeside citizens, communities, citizens, everyone, while solving all of these other problems simultaneously. And we were actually humbled to receive kind of grants from IIT Kanpur, Open, and Madras, all the three IITs this past year. We won the World Bank Youth Innovation Challenge, the Nama Bengaluru Challenge as well, organized by Rain Matter, and have been humbled to receive coverage from Times of India, TEDx, All India Radio, etc. How we're kind of doing, like, besides the water quality improvement and biodiversity, what we're also trying to do is make it very energy efficient, cost efficient, right? Because 97% of water bodies, of the stagnant water bodies in India, are in rural areas. Only 3% are in urban areas. So we need to cater to them too. Also, involving the community and ensuring a financial layer is kind of built over it ensures that the water body could be maintained. It does not go back to its deteriorated state 3 years, 5 years after we've kind of stopped maintaining it. So the community needs to be brought in as a stakeholder as well. And what we're doing is we're sticking to products, right? For example, at a water body, you need to do multiple things when restoring it, right? You might want to pick up the garbage and solid waste from around it. You might want to make a boundary wall around it, deepen it, desilt it, do stone pitching around it, plant some trees, make walkway benches, lights, right? These are things that any individual group of volunteers, NGO contractors, anybody can do, right? But at a water body, the water quality is most primary, right? You can do all of the beautification work around it, but if the water is smelling, if it has color, if it has invasive species all over it, if it has dying fish, you won't really be able to enjoy the lake, right? So the water quality needs to be improved. And we're doing how we conduct our business is through actually a scalable product-based approach, right? If we can't go and cater to 24 lakh stagnant water bodies in India in my limited lifetime, right? But the products that we manufacture here centrally in Indore can reach thousands and millions of water bodies out there. And that's what our idea is, not to get into services, but stick to a scalable product-based approach, which can be deployed anywhere. So it's like we manufacture our products here in Indore, ship it to any corner of the country for now. We can ship it to any corner of the globe, and it's a one-day installation at the site. So we can cater to thousands and millions of water bodies every year. Uh, and that's what our vision is. And what we're looking for and what we kind of generally work is basically we collaborate with corporates with CSR funds. We collaborate with NGOs, not-for-profits, for CSR projects. We actually don't work with the government. Not directly though. We don't pick up tenders, although we have a distributor network that supplies to the government. What we're also looking for is community partnerships to rejuvenate water bodies together. Also, we have a very unique model where we could rejuvenate water bodies without taking funds from either the government or anyone through a public-private partnership. Basically, what we're looking to do is adopt water bodies, not take funds from the government, raise private financing, rejuvenate it, maintain it. But in order to recover this investment, generate revenue from the water body only through environment-friendly measures, not exploit it in any manner. But for example, let's say if we set up advertisements on the boundary wall of the lake, right? It does not harm the lake in any manner. But if there are a lot of eyeballs falling on the lake and the advertisements, it could generate enough revenue to cover the maintenance cost and pay back the capex as well in a couple of years. So that's also a pretty unique model. We're also looking for impact investors for equity-based capital to scale up our efforts. And if anybody could help us with grants, projects, equity investment, or connections or networks, we'd be more than happy to kind of get associated, take this ahead. Catering to multiple SDGs simultaneously, etc. So yeah, this is what we do. I'll take a pause here for the questions that you might have. Yeah.
Very interesting, very interesting, Priyanshu.
Yeah.
And results look amazing. So,
Thank you so
first
much.
of all, to start with, before I go to your product, I think your slides were also amazing. You made
Thank you so much.
very organized slides, and I think this is something we can learn from you to start with is how to make slides.
Oh,
They
my
were
team members did it, to be really honest.
okay. So we have some questions in the audience. One question is from Sumitra: how can unchecked discharge into water bodies be prevented and reduced?
Oh, so actually, it's actually the government's responsibility to do that. As a
Hmm.
private institution, I do not have any power over a resident, a commercial institute, industry, or hospital, whoever, right? The
Hmm.
power lies only with the government, and that's where we're stuck.
Hmm.
What most people assume, I'll stick my neck out to say
Hmm.
this. What most people assume is that the government wants to rejuvenate water bodies. Let me tell you, they do not want to rejuvenate water bodies. They want the problem to persist because they can't really force thousands of industries to set up a treatment plant or stop their discharge into water bodies, right? And also, nobody votes based on water, right? In my city of Indore, not even 100 votes will get switched if nobody rejuvenated our lakes or rivers, right? Not even 100 votes from 30, 40, 50 lakh population now. So why would the politician bother to rejuvenate water bodies, right? Uh,
Hmm.
Water, lake, groundwater, all of these sectors are made into cash cows by the government. And they really don't want to solve the problem. So the wastewater is still flowing untreated and it's being discharged into water bodies, into lakes and rivers alike. And it's not just sewage, it's the industrial effluents that cause most of the problem.
Hmm.
So it's actually up to the government. And what we can do is put pressure on the government for them to actually do something about it.
Yeah. Santosh has a question that he says it's a great initiative, much needed. Is the product the floating wetland is a product, or is it the plants that grow in the
Okay,
floating
so
or
the floating wetlands are the product. including the main wetland. So basically, what meets the eye is just the plants on top of it, right? But the actual product is the wetland or the island itself,
Okay.
because we add biomedia underneath it.
So
What most
it's like some powders or some liquid.
so biomedia is a material made of recycled plastic, and its purpose is just to provide surface area so
Okay.
that the friendly bacteria present in the lake can come and attach to the surface and form colonies and layers. And what most people
Oh,
get wrong about wetlands is that they think plants are doing the entire treatment, which is
right.
incorrect. Plants just contribute to 10 to 20% of the treatment. It's the bacterial colonies that form underneath the water, underneath the island, that do 80 to 90% of the treatment.
So it's
So
more like a biotechnology.
that's right.
Hmm.
Biotechnology, or it's a biological solution,
Yes.
nature-based solution to rejuvenate water bodies. Because
Hmm.
what plants can do is they can uptake heavy metals and some nutrients. But for
Hmm.
BOD and COD removal, you require like the bacterial colonies and biofilms. So yeah, the product is floating wetlands. And the other products are aerators, floating aerators to be precise, and
Hmm.
the beneficial microbial culture, which is a powder with friendly bacteria.
Okay. So from the same question, if somebody, let's say you're sitting in Indore and we have to rejuvenate a lake in Mumbai, for example, Powai Lake, it has a massive eutrophication problem. It's full of water hyacinth.
Hmm.
So what would you ship here?
Yeah, so
Will you have to
we'll ship.
come, because from scalability point of view, will you
Yes.
have to come here and study and do all of research and everything? Or is it something like very fast plug and play kind of model?
It's both. For most of our projects, it's just a simple plug and play, because we
Hmm.
know that, for example, for rural water bodies, right? It's
Yeah,
primarily the sewage entering these village ponds, and
right.
there are no industries around, so we know there are no industrial effluents. So we know what the typical composition of sewage is and how to treat it. So let's say we'll put in 5 floating wetlands per acre. We'll put 2 or 3 floating aerators per acre. For every million liters of water in the lake, we'll put in 1 kilogram per month. So we have thumb rules. So at most of our sites, we really don't need to go to the site beforehand. Once the order is placed to us, we have manufactured it and shipped it to the site, is the first time that we actually go to the site. But since you also mentioned Powai Lake, which is about 500 acres in size,
Hmm.
has multiple inlets, and is a complex thing, right? It is completely covered with water hyacinth currently. Also, another factor is there are crocodiles in that lake. So we can't set up aerators, right? The crocodiles
Yeah,
will just chew it or bite it right off.
yeah.
But we still need to improve the oxygen levels, right? So we'll dose another culture that can improve the oxygen levels.
Hmm.
We can still put in floating wetlands because they're
Hmm.
very strong. They can take up to 800 kgs, 1200 kgs and still be floating. So even if a crocodile comes up to sunbathe and sits on a floating wetland, they're fine. Nothing will happen to them. Yeah. So talking about Powai Lake, the existing water hyacinth needs to be removed and dosing needs to start parallelly. Basically, what we're doing is bringing the nutrients down to zero. When there is no food left in the water for water hyacinth, it will starve and therefore and not multiply on the lake. So
Hmm.
that's the way to control hyacinth, is just remove their food and remove their existing ones. Maybe after 1 or 2 months, 1 or 2% might come back, which now you can easily manually remove, and kind of then after the second, third month mark, no more invasive species will come back. So that's how we cater to it.
So Santosh from Bangalore has some business for you. He said that I have a contact that does some amazing work in constructed wetland. I can see some amazing synergies if interested. I'm sure you must be interested, right?
Definitely, yeah. Would like to connect.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
reach
yeah.
out to Mr. Santosh. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is really amazing, Priyanshu. I'm hearing for the first time. I've heard a lot about these kind of models. We know that these wetland-based models exist, and but what you spoke about is scalable and replicable model and plug and play. That is something very, very interesting, and I think that we have to do a more detailed talk about it in separate call. So, any more
Right.
questions from the audience?
Yeah, can I ask you a doubt?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, sir, it's good and really enlightening. I just want to know one thing. But it is a biological based system, right? But
Yes.
beginning from sewage wastewater to surface water bodies, you take any wastewater and even drinking water, it's full of emerging contaminant these days, right?
Hmm.
Most importantly, PFAS. Recently, the word
Yes.
PFAS is there everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So all these, emerging contaminants are very much toxic to these microorganisms. So although
Okay.
in India, if you see, most of the wastewater treatment plants, sewage treatment plants are biological based units.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so they are brutally failed because of one is like they are designed only for to remove CO and BO to some extent for certain range of
Yes.
parameters. In addition to that, we are discharging these emerging contaminants as well. So
Yes.
how are you going to handle these emerging contaminants in your system?
Right. Very, very amazing question, actually, because what the issue that you've raised about is PFAS, which are also known as forever compounds. Basically, nature takes forever, like centuries
Sorry,
or even
sir.
more, to kind of get rid of them. And they can't be degraded biologically. And you're correct there. So basically, they have to be stopped at the source. We can treat biological contaminants, we can treat nutrients and trace quantities of heavy metals. But if you put in raw industrial waste, let's say if it's not water anymore, if it's really acid or a base, right? It's a liquid, but it's not water, it's acid or a base. Then obviously no plant or no biological solution can treat it, right? So we can cater to a pH variance from 5 to 9. But if the pH goes beyond 5 or beyond 9, if it really becomes really acidic or basic, no biological solution, not wetlands, not aerators, not cultures can treat it. Therefore, the industrial effluents have to be stopped at the source with zero tolerance. We can't allow a single drop from industries to enter these water bodies. And so is the case with PFAS and forever compounds. And they have to be stopped at source because there's absolutely no way to treat them biologically currently. And same is the case with plastics and microplastics and things like that, right? Currently, we do not have a biological solution for microplastics. And that's why I asked Professor Ved actually does he have a solution? So these pollutants need to be separated at source or before entering the water bodies. They can't be let into the water bodies because we really don't have, nobody has a solution for them yet. Yeah.
Okay. So even for other emerging contaminants such as pharmaceutical compounds and PCPs, because we cannot avoid them, completely entering into the water bodies, any kind of water bodies, or even sewage wastewater. But in continuation to that, my another question is, I would like to ask you this: your technology is very specific to these only these new because I work in the area of wastewater treatment, development of sewage treatment plants, and wastewater management as well in different ways. So my question is like, your technology is going to handle only these nutrients, using these plants.
No. So our technology actually caters to all kinds of nutrients, right? From ammonia nitrate, nitrates, phosphates, phosphites. Plus, we also cater to BOD and COD, TSS. Some of these plants in the floating wetlands can uptake a few heavy metals as well, although they have their limits in how much heavy metals
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they can uptake per day: nickel, cadmium, lead, arsenic, etc. So we can actually cater to multiple pollutants. But not all, like we mentioned, not PFAS or we can't degrade plastic. So uh, all the nutrients at most of our sites come down to below detection levels. So they're not just within norms or within bathing or drinking standards. They go below detection levels. So nutrients is by far the easiest thing to control.
Mm.
Uh, which is actually good because what things like invasive species like water hyacinth, water lettuce, duckweed, azolla algae have become a nuisance across the nation, right? From the lakes in the northeast to Godavari to Kashmir to Tamil Nadu, everywhere the water hyacinth has spread across the country, and it's become a big menace which needs to be catered to in the coming years.
Okay. I just want to, add one thing. One of my, colleague from our lab, same lab. So he was working in this, constructed wetlands. He
Yeah.
actually, found out some plants, so which helps in degrading the emerging contaminants. For example, diclofenac, paracetamol, caffeine, ciprofloxacin. So these emerging contaminants. There are certain plants, but very selective plants, where these plants helps us to degrade these kind of pharmaceutical compounds as well. Because as you know, if you take any tablet, any pharmaceutical compound, so only 10% is getting absorbed, 90% is coming out through feces and entering into the water. We
Yes.
actually have certain plants which helps us degrading these emerging contaminants as well. So I'm just adding to you. You can explore so that you can
Definitely,
add on
we'd
to your
like to
work. That
explore. Yeah. However, the preliminary analysis does tell us that these plants can only uptake some of these PFAS, not all. And also the amount that they can uptake per day, the milligrams per day that they can uptake is really less. What that means is you'll have to maybe cover the entire lake with floating wetlands, and even then it might not be sufficient. And that's also something we can't do, right?
Okay.
We can maybe cover 2, 5, 10, 20% of the water body surface, but we can't be covering 100%, right? So, and that's where the limitations are, and that's why I kind of recommend to stopping them at source. Yeah.
Priyanshu, one question is that
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
what do we do about the rivers?
Yeah. Hi, Priyanshu.
Yeah.
Regarding that only was my next question. Firstly, I would like to congratulate Dr. Ved, Mr. Santosh, and also to you. Great work you three are doing with such a solid research background.
Yes.
Now, Priyanshu, what Saurabh just asked, my question was similar to that only. That we saw some of the great examples on which you worked with your technology on ponds and lakes across India. But
Yeah.
when it comes to the river, when it is flowing continuously and there is no stagnant water whatsoever, and all the time changing composition of that COD, BOD, change of seasons and change of flow maybe, or the speed of flow or whatever. Have you worked on the river project ever, or you're researching about it, or your upcoming research talks about the methodology or how you should take up such projects ahead?
Yes. So, thank you for the question. We actually have ready plans to rejuvenate rivers as well. This would include the three products that I mentioned, but it would also include a few other interventions, like a floating trash barrier, right? We can't degrade plastic, so we'll have to separate it before it
Right.
enters the treatment stage. We would also need to construct a few check dams, etc.
Hmm.
But we can treat rivers, drains, streams, all flowing water bodies as well, unless there's a huge quantity of industrial waste coming in it. If it's in small quantities, it could be treated. The reason you see that most of our work is on lakes till now and not on
Yeah.
rivers is because
Right.
lakes are easier to rejuvenate. Once you clean the water, it's stagnant, it's there, it's already
Hmm.
clean. But even if you clean water in a river, it flows away. And then at the
Hmm.
same point, polluted water from upstream would come. Further, the another problem or challenge with rivers is it requires a significantly higher budget, right? Rivers flows
Yes.
through tens and hundreds of
Yeah,
kilometers.
the stretch is very long.
Stretch is very long, and the thing is, therefore, you require a much higher budget. Let's talk about Yamuna River, for example,
Hmm.
right? Yamuna is the border of Delhi and UP and Delhi and Haryana as well, right? So unless all the three states stop their industrial discharge into the river, it cannot be clean, right? Any quantity of sewage that comes in could be still be treated biologically as the river flows. It will cleanse
Hmm.
itself. But the industrial effluents is something that needs to be stopped from all the three states simultaneously. Only then can the river
Right.
get rejuvenated. And
Right.
given how politics and things work in the Indian context, we really don't see a blanket ban on all industries in these three states discharging their wastewater into it, right? Practically, we don't see that happening. And unless that happens, Yamuna cannot get clean.
Right.
So that's the challenge with rivers. It's not just about sewage, but it's about industries as well. And that's what makes it really tough. And also, once you clean the river, it might travel a few 100 meters, and then new outlets from colonies,
Yes.
hotels,
Right.
hospitals might come in just a few 100 meters downstream, right? And then you have to again clean it. And
Yeah.
it's not just sewage; it might have a lot of solid waste with it. And then it will give rise to invasive species again because the
Yeah.
nutrients have come back. And that's what makes a river really tricky to rejuvenate. Also, another thing that we are unable to enforce is the buffer zone around rivers, right? The law
Mm.
states that according to the size of the river, we have to leave 10 meters or 30 meters or 100 meters on either side of the river as
Right.
green buffer zone where no construction can happen, right? I calculated that in my hometown of Indore, we might have to displace 50,000, 1 lakh people, or maybe even more. If we actually went about
Yeah.
implementing this law, right? And you understand that practically that's not going to happen. The politicians will come and say there's a vote
Yes, of
bank, you can
course.
do this, they'll get a stay, right?
Yeah.
And that's where we're stuck actually. If you can actually impose these rules like in a China like brutal fashion,
Mm.
remove the encroach. Calling them encroachment isn't the right word either, right? They've been there for some of them have been there for centuries as well, right? Even before the modern concept of India. So in order to remove them with little or no compensation, is just a headache, right? And giving them compensation is just out of the question, right? We
Yeah.
simply don't have enough budget to give them compensation.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's also a problem because you understand that rivers flow at the lowest point of a contour, right? The establishment just near the river, their sewage or wastewater would come into the river. It can't flow against gravity upstream, like against the slope and go somewhere, right? So eventually, wastewater keeps finding its way into the river. Some people try to just uh, put their pipelines away from my side. They'll just bury it, right? So their waste will keep going. It you won't see that there's any pipeline coming, but actually there is. So there are multiple challenges with the river. They can
Right.
be treated, but multiple steps need to be done parallelly. Yeah.
There is a question from,
So regarding, just a moment. So regarding policies and implementation, we cannot talk right now about it because that is obviously not in our hand. But if we have to start off immediately on cleaning of rivers, I mean, you're from Mumbai, you have studied in Mumbai, so you know already condition of the Mithi River, and if you have visited Pune, you also know the condition of Mora Mutha River. So they
Yes.
are just unbearable. I mean, you go there, you cannot even stand for more than 5 seconds there. So if
Yeah.
we have to start on immediate basis with
Yes.
your number of technologies or your
Yes.
inventions, okay? So
Yeah.
you have a stretch in that entire city, and you
Mhm.
have certain spots. So
Yes.
can you tell us how you would place your installations, maybe in between that stretch, or maybe start of something, mid of something, or maybe when the river meets the ocean, or that estuary
Yes.
part of it? So what all will you try and put in such halves?
Absolutely. So there are actually multiple things that we could do
Mm.
and solve that problem. We actually have ready plans for rivers as well. Uh, uh, so basically, let me take the example of Oshiwara River in Mumbai, right? It starts from the
Mm.
Sanjay Gandhi National Park and then it
Mm.
flows into the Arabian Sea, obviously.
Mm.
What we need to do, and at the start in the Sanjay Gandhi National Park, it's obviously clean, right? Once it comes
Yeah.
out of the national park and when sewage starts entering it, does it really get polluted, right? What we
Mm.
can actually do is have water quality monitoring stations every kilometer, every 2 kilometers, whatever. And we know that, let's say the water quality was within norms at this point of time,
Mm.
and the next station a kilometer or 2 kilometer downstream says it's polluted, right? So then we know that in this 1 or 2 kilometer stretch is where the pollution has come in. So then we go on identifying which are the wastewater inlets coming in,
Mm.
systematically removing them, stopping them, redirecting them to a treatment plant. And when we do that, to set up the treatment plant, stop the wastewater, we would see that, okay, now the downstream station also reflects that the water quality is within norms, right? And so that
Mm.
then we go in a systematic manner. For bigger rivers, I'm talking right now, this could be done on a ward level, on a zone level, on a
Right.
micro level, right? Step by step,
Smaller
every
stretch.
kilometer.
Yeah.
That's how you can do it. For bigger rivers like Yamuna, for pan-national, like rivers that flows through hundreds of kilometers, you can break that down into states, districts, and again, wards and zones. When the Kanha River of Indore leaves, it starts from Indore, it begins in Indore, and then it joins Shipra River just before Ujjain. Uh, what we can do is we can make a pledge and ensure and comply that when the Kanha River leaves the district of Indore and goes into the district of Ujjain, we will give it clean to them. It's great for them, right? If the river comes in clean, it's their responsibility now to ensure that when the river leaves their district and gets into the next district, they have to give it clean. You can break down the responsibility into smaller problems and then solve it. Uh, s- Similar to how, let's say, any river, even like the Oshiwara River I mentioned, could be broken down into every kilometer, have water quality monitoring stations, identify the sources, stop it, treat it, and then in some time it could be rejuvenated in a
Yeah.
system. So that's how I'll proceed. Basically, how we do that is first you have need to have floating trash barriers, right? There are all kinds of solid waste coming in. Then we could dose our microbial cultures, have the aerators, then the floating wetlands, and then the water would be clean. Only the sludge needs to be separated from the water. Also, then the clarification could be done at the check dam. By clarification, I mean settling down the sludge, and the clear water could overflow into the river. So it's a basic, simple process flow of how you could treat a river as well using the same products, but two additional interventions of floating solid waste barrier and a check dam.
Right. Okay. Thank you for the insight, Priyanshu.
There is
Thank
a
you.
question from Sumitra is in what way awareness be created to stop industrial discharge?
Uh, um, I'm not a marketing guru, to be very honest. This is more of a marketing question because I don't know what it really comes down to the people, right? For example, there are stretches of Hindon River that eventually joins the Yamuna, where the entire villages and the groundwater and every water source is so contaminated that entire generation of people are getting born with bone deformities, right? With crooked hands and like their lifespans are just 10, 20, 30 years against the national average of obviously much higher. So the people need to realize, okay, so I'll give a very raw answer to this, right? People today have become very selfish, right? Unless you tell them how it's gonna impact them personally, they won't really care for it, right? If the wastewater leaves my house and goes somewhere and causes problem to somebody else, I'm not concerned, right? I'm okay, it just left my premises. But if they understand that it's gonna circle back to them and
But
it's
but
gonna
but but
impact them.
the question is for the industrial discharge.
Yeah, I'm answering that because
Yeah.
that awareness needs to come in,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Or maybe people need to go all guns blazing on pollution control board with RTIs and NGT, right? That it's your job to control the industrial discharge. What are you doing about it? Tell us how many notices have you issued? The water quality in the water body is so and so. Look, we got it tested by this lab. Why aren't you stopping this? How, like, what are the actions that you've taken? But that's how we need to start. Awareness should be raised, and also on a parallel front, right? When the industrial effluents will find their way into the water, people will start having diseases, cancer, bone deformities, and things like that. So people
Hmm.
need to be made. So consciousness of people needs to be brought up.
Yeah, yeah.
They need to start putting pressure on the politicians and pollution control board and relevant government authorities
Hmm.
that you have to take some action about it.
Hmm.
I can. We are in a very comfortable state in Indore where we are the upper riparian state, right? The Kanha River starts from Indore. But Ujjain people should start pressuring the Indore people that why are you giving us wastewater? And that
Hmm.
too, not just sewage, but industrial wastewater. So, uh, how to actually stop the discharge and raise awareness is a tricky question. So actually NGOs, it's actually the NGOs part that where
Hmm.
they need to play a part because very honestly, for-profit companies really don't have any incentive to be raising awareness, right? Unless
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
their own branding or
Yeah.
image creation or
To the
things.
next question, there is a question from Professor Nasama is that targeting a few pollutants in water, how can we achieve the discharge standard of water?
Okay. We actually need to cater to all kinds of pollutants. In a lot of water bodies, not every pollutant enters, right? For example, a lot of water bodies do not receive heavy metals. It just receives sewage and nutrients and maybe agricultural runoff, etc. So whatever pollution needs is coming in, you just need to cater to that. Obviously, just targeting a few pollutants, we can't achieve the entire discharge standards. So therefore, a best approach, a technically sound approach, would be one where we take the water quality reports first on all as detailed a water quality report we can on 40 parameters, 100 parameters, see which are off, which are above the discharge standards, and then have solutions for each of them. In every sample, obviously, you won't find every pollutant. You might find 2, 5, 10, 15 odd pollutants which are above the discharge standards, but most of them are already within norms. So then we need to cater to them specifically. Okay, whether this lake is eutrophic with high nutrient levels, or what exact heavy metal is coming in this, which plant or which biological solution can remove it. That's how you kind of scientifically go about it. But telling you from a very practical point of view, most of our clients do not have budgets for water quality monitoring. They just want to do something that the lake looks really beautiful, looks like they've done something, so that they can report it to their managers and seniors, right? And I see this in most of the corporates. When I talk to them, what I gauge is their agenda is not to actually clean the water body. Their agenda is to report impact. uh, like just give us a great fancy report that we've stopped so much CO2, we've prevented so much methane emissions, we've engaged the community, we've increased livelihood of so many people. So they're more about impact. Uh, and like that needs to change, right? Focus on the real things need to come in actually. Yeah.
Okay, Priyanshu, thank you so much. This was really amazing. Very,
Thank you.
very insightful, and we definitely want to have a at length session with you one of
We would
these
love that.
days, yeah, in coming days, probably this month or whenever we both are available. Uh,
Yes.
I would like to thank everyone here and to our speakers, Dr. Prakash, Ranjan, to Santosh, and to Priyanshu, three of you. Thank you so much, and to the audience for being so participative and so many questions. This actually went beyond our timeline. So that shows that very, very useful session. And there is now this goes on YouTube, and then on YouTube, a lot of people will see, and we'll have a lot of questions. We also publish articles out of this. So a lot happens after the session is done. So thank you so much. And we'll meet soon again, probably next week.